Hi, this is One God Ministries, and today we have a special topic which is God's timetable, part 3, which is the millennial rule of Jesus. So, this is our video 47. This is the third part of our 4-part series on God's timetable. As a quick review, let's go into Hebrews 4:8, when the Apostle Paul said that for if Joshua had given them rest, God would not have spoken later about another day. There remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God. So today we are going to talk about that Sabbath rest that we have spoken about in the first part of God's timetable. So we earlier said in parts 1 and part 2 that Paul was actually talking about a prophecy, the 7,000-year prophecy. For those who haven't watched yet, I suggest you watch part 1 and part 2 of God's timetable to understand what really is being talked about in here. So this provision was in the past, in the Old Covenant. If this is still to be observed in the New Covenant, refer to the PowerPoint Sabbath. Okay? So the 7 days of heaven, as we have said earlier, was actually 7,000 years in metaphor. And this is based on 2 Peter 3 verse 8, wherein the Apostle Peter said that with the Lord 1 day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years for the Lord. So the 7 days signify 7,000 years in the earthly realm. So the future Sabbath Paul was talking about is found in Hebrews 4:8. For if Joshua had given them rest, God would not have spoken about another day. So there remains a Sabbath rest for the people of God, and this is the millennium. In verse 11, he admonishes, "Let us therefore make every effort to enter that rest, so that no one will fall by following their example of disobedience." So Paul was not talking in here about the weekly Sabbath or the seventh day, because it was already being observed in their days, and he was referring to a future time when another Sabbath would be observed. So we said earlier that this millennial Sabbath is actually the 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ. So it commences at the return of Jesus at the end of the age. The end of the age we earlier discussed, particularly in part 2, it is the end of the 6,000-year rule of mankind. The end of the age we have shown in God's timetable, part 1 and 2, occurs around the year 2027, according to the dates given in the Bible. And the explanation of those dates and accumulation of those dates we have shown. So for all of you who do not yet comprehend, I suggest you review parts 1 and part 2 of God's timetable. So this millennium, this Sabbath which is to come, is discussed in Revelation 20 verse 4, "And I saw thrones on which were seated those who had been given authority to judge. And I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded because of their testimony for Jesus, and because of the word of God. They had not worshipped the beast or its image, and had not received his mark on their foreheads or their hands. They came to life and reigned with Christ 1,000 years, and this is the millennium. So this is the millennial rule of Jesus Christ, also known as the Sabbath, which is to come. So, what are the characteristics of this millennial rule of Jesus Christ? Let the Bible speak. First, Satan will be imprisoned for 1,000 years. In Revelation 20 verse 1, it is stated, "And I saw an angel coming down out of heaven, having the key to the abyss, and holding on his hand a great chain. He seized the dragon, that ancient serpent, who is the devil or Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. He threw him into the abyss, and locked and sealed it over him, to keep him from him deceiving the nations anymore, until the 1,000 years were ended. After that, he must be set free for a short time." Now, for those of you who think that the abyss was hell, okay, I suggest you look at one God Ministries video on the truth about hell, for you to understand the abyss and how different it is from the lake of fire. And it is also different from Hades. I believe 99% of Christendom is actually confused about the word hell. So you better check our video on the truth about hell. So go to One God Ministries in our YouTube channel, and you will see in there really what the Bible is saying about hell and what abyss really is. So suffice it to say that the abyss is actually a prison for fallen angels or the devils. And Satan will be imprisoned in the abyss for 1,000 years, or a millennium. Because you see, while Satan is still loose on earth, there will be trouble, there will be war on earth. People will still be confused from his temptations. Okay, so to keep him from deceiving the nations, God will imprison Satan for 1,000 years in the abyss, in the millennial rule of Jesus Christ. So Jesus and his saints will reign on earth for this 1,000 years. And this is the millennial Sabbath of the future. The world will have its rest from war, from turmoil. And this is the Sabbath rest for the people of God. For anyone who enters this rest, God's rest also rests from his own work, just as God did from his, as pointed out earlier in the book of Hebrews. Next, once Satan is imprisoned in the abyss, righteousness will reign on earth. In Isaiah 11 verse 2, it is stated, "The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him," that is, on Jesus Christ, "the Spirit of wisdom and of understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of power, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. And he will delight in the fear of the Lord. He will not judge by what he sees in his eyes, or decide by what he hears with his ears." For those of you who haven't watched our video on who really is Jesus Christ, I suggest you go to our video of One God Ministries on who Jesus Christ really is. He is none other than Jehovah himself. I continue with verse 4. "With righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. With the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. Righteousness will be his belt, and faithfulness the sash around his waist." You know, the Bible pinpoints that at the coming of Jesus Christ, he will slay the wicked at the end of the age. Okay? There are a lot of verses in the Bible for this. Okay? So all of this will occur at Jesus' reign in the millennium. In Isaiah 2 verse 2, in the last days, the mountain of the Lord's temple will be established as chief among the mountains. It will be raised above the hills, and all nations will stream to it. Many peoples will come and say, "Come, let us go to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob." Jesus will reign directly on earth for 1,000 years on his holy mountain. I continue, he will teach us his ways so that we may walk in his paths. The law will go out from Zion, the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He will judge between the nations and will settle disputes for many peoples. So that will occur during the millennial reign of Jesus Christ. Continuing, Isaiah 2 verse 4, they will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not take up sword against nation, nor will they train for war anymore. War will be a thing of the past in the millennial rule of Jesus Christ. So weapons of war will be destroyed. And then there will be a transformation in nature, as the Bible will teach us. Even the very nature of the animals will be changed. So let the Bible speak on what will happen in this 1,000 year of the reign of Jesus Christ. In Isaiah 65 verse 25, there is a prophecy. The wolf and the lamb will feed together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. But dust will be the serpent's food. They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, says the Lord. So the wolf, which normally feeds on the lamb, will simply live together in peace, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. So even the nature of the lion will be changed. So the Bible teaches us that the lion will even become a vegetarian. He will have to give up his carnivorous ways, because carnivorousness is not really a thing in the millennial reign of Jesus. So even the animals will be changed. The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together. Now this is impossible in today's world because they are food for one another. And yet, the Bible promises us that the nature of these carnivores will be changed. They will be turned into peaceful animals. I continue with verse 7. The cow will feed with the bear, their young will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. Okay, so we know that bears normally eat other animals, like small cows. And yet, the Bible teaches us that even the mighty bear's carnivorous tendencies will be changed. In Isaiah 11 verse 8, the infant will play near the hole of the cobra, and the young child put his hand into the viper's nest. Notice that in today's world, once a child plays with the cobra and also with the viper, what will happen? The snakes will bite him and he will die. And yet the nature of the snakes even will be changed. Even the terrible viper. You know, if you really know the nature of a viper, once a viper bites into a human being, that part where the viper bites will have an instant decomposition. It will be, rather the cells will actually deteriorate at at an astounding rate, and it will result in instant death. But you see, even the nature of the snakes will be changed, and I believe even their poisonous venoms will disappear, and such that even a child can play with them and not be poisoned. In Isaiah 11 verse 9, they will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters covered the sea. So it is like paradise coming back again. When man and animals were at peace, none of them were destroying each other, none of them were killing each other. So the millennial reign of Jesus Christ is actually paradise restored. There will be no more destruction. There will be no more killing of animals and animals killing of people. Let's continue on in Isaiah 65 verse 19. I will rejoice over Jerusalem and take delight in my people. The sound of weeping and of crying will be heard in it no more. You know, in the last part 2 of God's timetable, we said that as the nearing of the end of the age comes, there will be wars and rumors of wars. There will be great tribulation. And the center of all this trouble will be on Jerusalem. Just watch out. Before 2027, around the year 2023, when the great tribulation will occur, Jerusalem will be the battlefront. Jerusalem will be the center of battle on the earth. It will be the center of Armageddon. And yet, in the millennial reign of Jesus Christ, He will make Jerusalem the place for perfect peace. And in fact, Jesus Christ will establish His kingdom in Jerusalem. Okay, so no more will the sound of weeping and of crying, which will characterize Jerusalem at the end of the age, occur, but rather there will be peace in Jerusalem. Then people will have very long lifespans. Never again will there be an infant who lives but a few days, or an old man who does not live out his years. He who dies at 100 will be thought a mere youth. He who fails to reach 100 will be considered accursed. Okay? So, in the millennial reign of Jesus Christ, notice, not all people will be immortal. Because the Bible does promise us that those who belong to God during the rapture will be made immortal. And we have seen that in our video, The Rapture. For those of you who haven't yet watched that video, I suggest you watch that. And it is promised that those who are taken by God during that time will be changed into immortals. But you see, during the millennial reign of Jesus Christ, there are still people who will die. Why is that so? You know, these are mortal survivors of the end of the age. Because at the end of the age, as spoken of in the Bible, particularly in the book of Amos, there will still be human survivors or mortals. And this will again repopulate the earth at the 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ. Okay? But as for the immortals, I don't know what the Lord has assigned for them. Perhaps they will have other works to do. But as for the mortals who survive the end of the age and are ushered in to the millennial rule of Jesus Christ, they will again repopulate the earth. And some will still even die. because they were a curse. Okay? And then there would be peace on the whole world. In Isaiah 65 verse 21, it is stated, "They will build houses and dwell in them. They will plant vineyards and eat their fruit. No longer will they build houses and others live in them, or plant and others eat." In today's world, you build houses, other people will take them. You plant vineyards, plant trees, and as soon as the fruits ripen, other people will steal them. But in the millennial reign of Jesus Christ, there will be theft. If there is theft, it will be extremely minimal, because you will actually enjoy the fruits of your labor. What you have planted, you will eat their fruit, and you will live in the houses you have built. Continuing in Isaiah 65, "My chosen ones will long enjoy the works of their hands. They will not toil in vain or bear children doomed to misfortune, for they will be a people blessed by the Lord, they and their descendants with them. Before they call, I will answer. While they are still speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb will feed together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox, but dust will be the serpent's food. They will neither harm nor destroy in all my holy mountain," says the Lord. So, what a beautiful picture. All violence on earth gone, both man-made violence and violence in nature. Paradise restored, and the people will again be reunited with their God, and they can talk to their God, none other than Jesus Christ. Don't you want to live in such a world, in such a paradise which is promised in the Bible? That is why the Apostle Paul said, "Make every effort so that you may enter that Sabbath rest, that Sabbath millennium of Jesus Christ." You know, the riches of this world is nothing compared to what will occur in the millennial reign of Jesus Christ. So let us then follow the counsel of the Apostle Paul when he said, "Make every effort. Give up this world." You know, the pleasures of this world, the riches of this world are nothing. Give it all up, for God will make everything right again in His millennial kingdom. Okay, so hopefully that millennial reign of Jesus Christ will come indeed. But there is one other thing. All of this will occur in the millennial reign of Jesus, but that is not the end of the matter. We will still have to let the Bible speak on what things are yet to come. So, I invite you in part 4, which is Back to Eternity, God's Timetable, part 4, Back to Eternity. So this is One God Ministries, and if you want to tune in to our YouTube channel, simply type One God Ministries into YouTube. Okay, thank you. Until next time, this is One God Ministries.